Hello there. It is Sunday, December 7th, 2019. Still trying to figure out how it got to be December already. It's just January. Um, it's about 1:12 in the afternoon. How's it going? It's been kind of a roller coaster week for me. Kind of up and down all week. Felt a little shaky, felt very tired. Did a few hours of overtime yesterday, came home and had lunch and promptly laid down for a couple hours. Doesn't seem like however much sleep I get, it's never enough. A little bit of a progress report. I've continued, I should say, trying to work on the fast fading light, my soul to keep, and started back into in Dino Image. So hopefully I'll be able to get those, get back, get back and get back on track with that. I'm also currently engaging in a little culinary therapy over in the kitchen. I have a pot of split pea soup uh, simmering away. I had made a ham for Thanksgiving for the sole purpose of getting a lot of meals out of it, and also more meals out of this out of the ham bone that's in there. So that's bubbling away. This week, I wasn't 100% certain what I wanted to talk about, but I was thinking about it, and I think we'll be talking about word counts and word lengths and how long various stories should be. Now there are some guidelines. I'll put the put a little picture up right here, and that will indicate that shows the various lengths. I'll go over it with you. Also, flash fiction is up to about 500 words. Very short, very quick. Short story is 500 to 1,999 words. A short story, 2,000 to 7,499 words. Although some e-publishers, e-magazines, and magazines in general do tend to go with 4,999 words as the top end. Novelettes are generally 7,500 words to 24,999. Novellas are 25,000 to 49,999. And technically, novel is anything 50,000 words or up. I'll get into that in a minute. Some e-publishers will consider a novella to be 15,000 words because it's easier to read on electronic screens like Kindles and things, or tablets. It's a little easier to read. Shorter lengths are also kind of better to deal with on computer screens. Now, when we talk about page length, one page is generally 250 words times New Roman, or Courier 12, 12 point. I always type up, well, when I was submitting things, I would always go in Times New Roman 12 point. A lot of print publishers, I don't know if they still do this, but a lot of print publishers used to like Courier because with Courier, all the letters are exactly the same width, so it's easier to estimate, okay, how many pages is this going to take when they were figuring out how to set the type. But since there's not manual typesetting anymore, I don't know if that's still a thing. I'm not a big fan of word counts of word lengths. My own philosophy is a story should be as long as it takes to tell the story, and that's what I do when I sit down and start writing. I'm not thinking about, okay, this is going to be a 5,000 word story. This is going to be a 25,000 word novella. It's as long as it takes to tell the story. Um, I've had um, I've had short stories that came in right about 5,000 words, and some that have been upwards of 9 or 10,000 words. But technically, that would make them novelettes. See, I try not to get hung up on it. As I said, for me, a story takes as long as it takes to tell the story. So if I can tell a story in 5,000 words and call it a short story, that's great. If I can do it in 30,000 words and call it a novella, great. I generally refer to most of my single stories as novellas anyway, just as a general coverall, because not a lot of people know the term novelette. And I kind of like that, because for me that's a nice, comfortable length. I can put enough detail in it to keep the readers focused and interested, but still not drag on. There's not a lot of padding. Could there be more world building in a couple cases? Yeah, probably. But I haven't had anybody say to me, yeah, you really should have cut that scene. There's not a lot left to cut when I'm finished. Now, my main point of contention with word counts is that it's almost like an arbitrary limit, particularly when it comes to novels. Now, as I said, novels are minimum 50,000 words, and I'm sure some novels will accept that as 50,000 words. Unfortunately, when you get into genre novels like science fiction and fantasy, it goes up to in the neighborhood of like 80,000 words. I've heard of some science fiction and fantasy novels being upwards of 100 to 120,000 words, and it's like, my ideas don't stretch that far. If you can do it, great. But to me, it just seems to be an artificial limit. I would rather take that 120 words and divide it into 3 40,000 word novellas, or 4 30,000 word novellas, and do it that way. This way, I can keep the reader going, building interest for the next book. That's how I look at it. When I first started writing, 50,000 words, yeah. It doesn't matter what genre you're in, 50,000 words. But as I said, now for science fiction and fantasy, you're looking at upwards of 80 to 100 or more thousand words. And my own opinion, this is strictly my opinion, not saying this is in fact what happens, but this is what I think happens. What I think is the reason behind it, I should say. That the traditional publishers arbitrarily said, okay, for genre, we want them to be longer. Not because they're looking to have better stories told. They're looking at how much they can charge. Because if you have a book that's 50,000 words, or a book that's 100,000 words, you're going to be able to charge more for that $100,000. So to me, it's a money grab. That's that's my opinion, and it's also one of the reasons why I started self-publishing. I wanted to tell my stories the way I wanted to tell them, in whatever length I wanted to tell them. So there's that. Now, again, that's strictly me. That's strictly my opinion. I don't think word count should be a gauge to a story's quality. But again, traditional publishers seem to have seem to have done that. Well, it's not a good book unless it's long. It's like, who said? The Time Machine is a novella, technically speaking, but it was called a novel. And it just seems to me to be an artificial limit. My own opinion, and if somebody wants to take it for what it's worth. As I said, my stories, my books turn out to be as long as it takes to tell the story. If I can tell a story in 30,000 words, I'll tell it in 30,000 words. If I can tell a story in 5,000 words, I'll tell it in 5,000 words. I don't obsess over it. I do keep track of it so just I can see, okay, I wrote so much this time, so much that time. And that's really all I keep track of. I don't even think about it when I'm editing. I look at it when I finish my final edit, when I finally decide, okay, the story is good, it's ready to go. Then I will see, okay, where's the word count? What is it going to fall in at? Because that'll help me decide exactly how to market the book. And that's about it. Don't really have much to say about writing. Word counts. Sorry, it's been a bad week. So hopefully I'll have something a bit more insightful to say next week. If you're interested in the books, all the links are down below, along with all my social media links. I did add Reddit and Pinterest to that, so you can find me there. If you do, links to the books are down below also, and if you do buy one, please go back and leave a review, good, bad, or indifferent. It all helps. And remember, we are each of us the heroes of our own stories and the villain of someone else's. See you next week, guys.